No way!
You think it's funny? Watch me. I will succeed no matter what!
Wow, he means it.
Okay, picture this. You're standing in front of your entire class. Your heart is just pounding in your chest, and you decide to share your absolute biggest, most ambitious dream. But instead of support, you're hit with brutal, open humiliation. Well, that was the exact reality for a teenager named David. Welcome to this explainer, where we're breaking down a story called A Dream Nobody Believed. We're going to see how one single moment of crushing embarrassment actually sparked a massive revolution. Let's jump right in. So the entire room just erupts. You've got this teenager standing there, completely exposed, being openly mocked by his peers. And why? Just because he shared a dream that was so monumentally huge, so completely out of touch with his current reality, that literally everyone in that room thought it was a joke. Here's the exact declaration that started all the chaos. He looked right at his classmates and said, "I want to build a company that will employ thousands of people around the world." Now, for a kid sitting in that specific classroom, dropping a statement of that scale sounded utterly ridiculous to them, like completely out of reach. But to really get why they laughed, you kind of have to understand David's harsh reality. See, his classmates were sitting around happily chatting about their upcoming summer vacations, flashing new smartphones, wearing expensive clothes. But David, his everyday life was defined by financial struggle. He was spending all his free time just helping his family survive. It was a massive, sharp contrast to the privileged lives going on all around him. Here's the kicker, though. He flat out refused to let those circumstances dictate his future. Even though he owned almost nothing and faced some really heavy daily challenges, David had this unshakable inner belief. He had a crystal clear vision to build a huge business and create real opportunities. He basically looked at his situation and decided, you know what? This is my starting line, not my finish line. Let's actually flash back for a second to see how this whole classroom incident played out. It started as a totally normal afternoon, just a regular class discussion. And then the teacher asks a super simple everyday question. What do you want to become in the future? Right? A question we've all heard a million times. But for David, it was the spark that ignited a crazy, life-changing sequence of events. Watch how this builds up. The other students are super eager, and they start shouting out their answers. And they all fall into those safe, expected buckets. Doctors, engineers, athletes, pilots, just a rapid-fire list of highly respected, traditional careers. Everyone's nodding along, the room is super comfortable, which sets the perfect stage for David to completely disrupt the vibe. Then, it's David's turn. He slowly stands up, he takes a really deep breath, and he delivers that massive, world-changing goal. And immediately after he speaks, the room goes completely dead. Just pause for a second and imagine that heavy, awkward tension. All that comfortable chatter instantly vanished. For one long, agonizing moment, you could honestly hear a pin drop. And then, the dam broke. But it wasn't just a little chuckle. It was a crushing wave of total disbelief. We're talking students shaking their heads, whispers spreading like wildfire, just open mockery directed right at him. They looked at his background and instantly assumed, no way, someone like him could never pull that off. The laughter just echoed. David quietly sits back down, and as much as he tried to play it cool, man, those words stung deeply. For the first time, these really heavy seeds of doubt started taking root in his mind. He asked himself a seriously painful question. Was success really only meant for people who started out with a huge advantage? He started wondering if having this dream was just a massive mistake. Later that afternoon, David makes this grueling walk home alone. And the voices from that classroom are just playing on an endless, agonizing loop in his head. Every single laugh, every snide comment, every sharp look of disbelief. The road home felt incredibly long that day, totally weighed down by the harsh judgment of dozens of his peers. When he finally gets home, he hits a massive mental crossroads. On one hand, giving up seemed so much easier, right? It was safer and infinitely less painful. But then there was the other option, pushing forward. As he looked around at his life, a harsh truth hit him. If he quit now, absolutely nothing would change. His future would remain permanently locked away as just a fantasy. This is where the energy totally flips. That evening, David makes what we call the midnight decision. He literally drew a line in the sand. Step 1, he would immediately stop seeking approval from people who were completely blind to his vision. Step 2, hyper-focus on daily self-improvement. And Step 3, never ever quit. He severed his reliance on their validation right then and there. While most of his classmates were fast asleep, David was taking action. In the dark, he opened up a notebook and physically wrote down his goals. It wasn't some flashy public announcement, but this solitary, quiet commitment, that was the true, actionable beginning of a journey that would alter the trajectory of his entire life. But here's the crazy part that David didn't know as he closed that notebook. This brand new, ironclad mindset of his was about to be severely tested. A massive, unforeseen hurdle was already waiting for him right in the shadows, something that would push him to his absolute limits and test every single thing he had just promised himself.
So the ultimate question is, will David actually stay true to this massive dream? Or will life's brutal, incoming challenges force him to completely surrender? The stakes are incredibly high right now, and the pace is only getting faster. You absolutely do not want to miss what happens next. Find out how this incredible journey unfolds in the next part of this explainer.